We're all addicted, I know I am. It's a dirty little secret. But I'm tired of it. I'm talking about social media. It's everywhere, and it's consuming our lives. I spend hours every day scrolling through feeds, comparing myself to others, and chasing likes. It's exhausting and frankly depressing. I know I'm not alone in this. That's why I decided to do something drastic. I decided to quit social media for 30 days. I know, it sounds impossible, right? Especially in today's world. But I was determined to see if I could break free from the clutches of the endless scroll. I wanted to see if it was actually possible to live in the moment, without feeling the need to document every second of my life for the approval of strangers. This wasn't just about disconnecting from the digital world though. It was about reconnecting with myself. I'm not going to lie, the first few days were rough, really rough. It was like going through withdrawal. I was anxious, restless, and constantly reaching for my phone. My brain was so used to the dopamine hits from likes and notifications that it didn't know what to do with itself. I felt like I was missing out on everything. All the latest trends, the gossip, the news. This fear of missing out, or FOMO as the kids call it, was real and it was powerful. But I was determined to push through. I knew that if I could just make it past the initial hump, I would start to see the benefits, and boy did I see the benefits. It wasn't immediate, but slowly, I started to feel a shift. The constant noise in my head began to quiet down. I was able to focus more on the present moment. I was more engaged in conversations. The first 48 hours were the worst. It was like my body was physically craving something. That something was my phone. I found myself reaching for it constantly, even though I knew it wouldn't be there. The silence was deafening. No pings, no vibrations, no flashing lights, just me and the unsettling quiet of my own company. I tried to keep busy. I went for walks, read books, even attempted to cook a decent meal. Anything to distract myself from the gaping hole in my routine where scrolling through social media used to be. But it was always there, lurking in the back of my mind, like an itch I couldn't scratch. The constant urge to check, to see what I was missing, was almost unbearable. It was then I realized how deeply ingrained social media had become in my daily life. It wasn't just something I did to pass the time. It was an addiction, a bad habit. I was using it to fill a void, to avoid boredom, to numb out. And the worst part? I hadn't even realized it until I tried to stop. After the initial shock wore off, things got a little easier, or so I thought. That's when the phantom vibrations started. I'd be sitting there, minding my own business, when suddenly I'd feel it, a phantom buzz in my pocket. My heart would skip a beat as I instinctively reached for my phone, only to find nothing there. This happened all the time. It was like my brain was playing tricks on me, conjuring up notifications out of thin air. The cravings were still there, but now they were coupled with this eerie feeling that my phone was trying to communicate with me. Even though I knew it was all in my head, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was missing something important, which of course was ridiculous. What could be so important that it couldn't wait? It was during one of these phantom buzzing episodes that I had an epiphany. I was so conditioned to being constantly connected that I had become afraid of missing out, not just on events and news, but on the minutiae of other people's lives. Their perfectly filtered photos, their witty comments, their carefully curated online personas. Once I acknowledged this fear, it started to lose its power over me. I began to realize that I wasn't actually missing out on anything important. In fact, by disconnecting from social media, I was creating space for other things in my life, things that actually mattered. I started to notice the world around me more, the way the sunlight filtered through the trees, the sound of laughter in the street, the smell of freshly baked bread wafting from the bakery on the corner. Simple pleasures that I had been too busy scrolling to appreciate before. I even started talking to people more, like real, face-to-face conversations. I reconnected with old friends, had deeper conversations with family members, and even struck up conversations with strangers. Who knew that was still possible? The first noticeable change was the silence. Not the literal silence of no phone buzzing, but the silence within my own head. The constant chatter of social media, the comparing, the judging, the need for validation, it all started to fade away. I hadn't realized how much mental energy I had been expending on this digital noise until it was gone. It was like someone had hit the mute button on a blaring television that had been playing in the background of my mind for years. Without the constant influx of curated lives and highlight reels, I was able to focus on my own thoughts and feelings. I started journaling regularly, writing down my thoughts and emotions without judgment. This process of self-reflection was both illuminating and terrifying. For the first time in a long time, I was forced to confront my own insecurities and anxieties without the distraction of social media. It wasn't always pleasant, but it was necessary. It allowed me to start addressing these issues head-on, instead of burying them under a mountain of likes and followers. The more I tuned into my own inner world, the less important the external validation of social media became. As the days turned into weeks, I began to notice a shift in my energy levels. I had more energy throughout the day, even though I wasn't getting any more sleep than usual. The constant stimulation of social media had been draining my energy without me even realizing it. Without it, I felt lighter, freer, more present. I found myself waking up earlier, eager to start the day. I had more time for things I actually enjoyed, like reading, writing, and spending time in nature. I started going to bed earlier too, my mind no longer buzzing with the day's digital drama. The quality of my sleep improved drastically. I was no longer kept awake by the blue light emanating from my phone screen, and my dreams were more vivid and memorable. This newfound energy permeated all aspects of my life. I was more productive at work, more engaged in my relationships, and just generally more content with my life. Perhaps the most unexpected benefit of my social media detox was the discovery of JOMO, the joy of missing out. At first, the fear of missing out had been a powerful motivator to check my phone constantly, but as I spent more time disconnected, I realized that I wasn't actually missing out on anything important. In fact, by not being bombarded with everyone else's highlight reels, I was free to create my own experiences and memories without feeling the need to document them for social media validation. I found joy in the simple things. A good meal with friends, a walk in the park, a quiet evening at home with a good book. These moments were no less special for not being shared online. In fact, they were more special because I was fully present in them, experiencing them with all my senses without the distraction of my phone. I was no longer living my life for the approval of others. I was living it for myself, and it was incredibly liberating. Let's talk about productivity, baby. Before the detox, I was the king of procrastination. My phone was a black hole for my time. I'd start the day with good intentions. I'm gonna crush this to-do list, I'd tell myself. But then I'd get sucked into the vortex of social media. Hours would vanish. It was scary. Suddenly, free from the digital shackles, I found myself with this superpower, focus. I could sit down at my desk and actually get things done. Work projects that used to take days were finished in hours. I was churning out creative ideas like a machine. It felt damn good. The best part? I wasn't just productive at work. This newfound focus spilled over into my personal life too. I started writing that screenplay I'd been putting off for years. I picked up my guitar again after months of neglect. I even started cooking healthy meals instead of ordering takeout every night. Who was this guy? The biggest surprise? Time. I had so much of it. It was like I'd been given an extra few hours in every day. Without the constant scrolling, liking, and commenting, I had rediscovered the lost art of doing nothing. Or more accurately, doing something other than staring at my phone. Remember those books I'd been meaning to read? Devoured them. Those online courses I'd signed up for but never started, completed them, and those neglected hobbies? They were back in heavy rotation. This abundance of time wasn't just about checking things off a list. It was about rediscovering passions, exploring new interests, and simply allowing myself to be bored. The funny thing is, boredom wasn't boring anymore. It was in those quiet moments without distractions that my best ideas emerged. I started carrying a notebook everywhere I went, jotting down thoughts, observations, and inspiration as it struck. My mind felt more alive, more creative, more engaged with the world around me. One of the most significant changes I experienced was the ability to do what Cal Newport calls deep work. This is the kind of focused, uninterrupted work that produces high-quality results. It's the kind of work that gets you in the flow state, where time seems to melt away. Without distractions, I could slip into deep work mode with ease. I'd set aside specific times, silenced my phone, closed my email, and just worked. The quality of my work skyrocketed. I was solving complex problems and producing work I was truly proud of. The most profound impact of this social media detox was on my relationships. Ironic, right? You'd think disconnecting from the digital world would make me more isolated, but the opposite happened. I became more present, more engaged, more invested in the people right in front of me. Before the detox, I was the king of absent-minded scrolling. Hanging out with friends but half present, my attention tethered to the glowing rectangle in my hand. I was missing out on real conversations, genuine laughter, the simple joy of human connection. Without the social media crutch, I had to relearn how to be present, how to actively listen, to engage in meaningful conversations, to be comfortable with silence. And you know what? It was amazing. I started noticing things about my friends and family I'd never noticed before. Their subtle expressions, their unique mannerisms, the way their eyes lit up when they talked about something they were passionate about. Conversations went from shallow small talk to deep dives into hopes, dreams, and fears. I reconnected with old friends, not through fleeting likes and comments, but through long phone calls and face-to-face meetups. I started having more meaningful conversations with my family, asking about their day, really listening to their responses, and sharing my own experiences with vulnerability and honesty. The quality of my relationships skyrocketed. I felt more connected to the people I cared about, and they, in turn, felt more connected to me. It was like I'd removed a barrier that had been preventing us from truly seeing and appreciating each other. This newfound connection wasn't limited to my existing relationships. Free from the digital echo chamber, I found myself more open to meeting new people. I struck up conversations with strangers at the coffee shop, the grocery store, even the gym. Without the pressure of crafting the perfect online persona, I felt more comfortable being myself, and it was refreshing. It's a strange paradox, isn't it? Social media, designed to connect us, was actually disconnecting us from the things that truly matter. Real human connection, genuine interaction, the shared experience of being alive in the same moment. By stepping away from the digital noise, I was able to tap into a deeper, more authentic level of connection with the people around me. It was a powerful reminder that true connection doesn't happen through a screen. It happens in the messy, imperfect, beautiful moments of shared experience. This realization was a game changer. It made me reevaluate my relationship with social media, my priorities, and my definition of connection itself. It was time to find a healthier balance, one where technology enhanced rather than hindered my ability to connect with the people and experiences that truly mattered. 30 days. It felt like a lifetime and a blink of an eye all at once. The day I finally logged back into social media was anticlimactic. I expected this tidal wave of FOMO, this overwhelming urge to catch up on everything I'd missed. But it wasn't like that. It was just noise. A cacophony of updates, posts, and stories that felt strangely irrelevant. Sure, I'd missed some memes, a few viral videos, and the latest celebrity gossip, but none of it really mattered. The world had kept spinning without my constant observation and validation, and the things that did matter, my work, my relationships, my well-being, had actually flourished in its absence. Scrolling through my feeds, I felt a strange detachment. These perfectly curated lives, the staged photos, the witty captions, it all seemed so performative. I'd been so caught up in the game I hadn't even realized I was playing it. The need for validation, the comparison trap, the endless pursuit of likes, it all felt so empty now. This wasn't about demonizing social media, it was about reclaiming my attention, my time, my life. The detox had given me the gift of perspective. I saw social media for what it was, a tool that could be used for good or bad, for connection or isolation, for creativity or consumption. It was up to me to decide how I wanted to use it. I unfollowed accounts that made me feel inadequate, muted notifications that triggered my anxiety, and set time limits for mindless scrolling. I started using social media more intentionally, seeking out content that inspired me, educated me, or made me laugh. I reconnected with friends and family, not through fleeting likes and comments, but through meaningful conversations and shared experiences. The most important change? I stopped taking it so seriously. Social media was no longer a measure of my self-worth, a source of anxiety, or a black hole for my time. It was simply a part of my life, a tool I could choose to use or not use depending on my mood and my needs. This 30-day experiment had transformed me into a digital minimalist. I wasn't about to throw my phone in the ocean or move to a remote cabin in the woods, but I had developed a healthier, more balanced relationship with technology. I was no longer a slave to the notifications, a prisoner of the endless scroll. I was present in my own life, savoring the simple pleasures, connecting with the people I cared about, and pursuing my passions with renewed vigor. I was more focused, more productive, more creative, and more content, and it was all thanks to a simple decision: to disconnect in order to reconnect. The digital world wasn't going anywhere, but I had learned that my well-being, my relationships, my life, they were all happening in the real world. And that was where I wanted to be. Fully present, fully engaged, fully alive. No filters, no likes, no distractions. Just me, myself, and the messy, beautiful reality of being human. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more great content. Check out these videos for more inspiration. See you next time.